Hello there. This is Fred DeFalco with the 920 Society. I'm so glad that you came by. This webinar is going to run about an hour, but a $10,000 payment plus, and plus, I'm saying, for a 1 hour investment is pretty darn good. Wouldn't you agree? Well, this is going to be more valuable than any $10,000. Trust me. I'm so glad you're here. If you don't have time to watch it all now and get something to write with and take some notes, take the link and come back and dedicate an hour to this. On YouTube, you could speed it up a little bit and maybe do it in 30 minutes. But I kind of recommend that you take this and take it into 1 hour and sense what your reaction is inside as I go through some of these concepts I'm going to go through with you. This is all about understanding and finding our certainty of purpose, our COP in 2024. And if not now, when? When are we really going to be able to say, yes, this is where I'm going. This is how I'm getting it there. This is why I'm doing it. This is what I'm here for. And if this is leap year, what a great year. Not now, when? This is the time to leap. In the month of April, in the 920 community mastermind on Facebook, we're going to be focusing on soul intelligence to unlock the personal and global transformation power that's within you. We're going to be using scroll number 5 from Og Mandino's book, The Greatest Salesman in the World. Now, some of you may say, well, I don't need this webinar. I'm not a business person. I'm not a salesperson. Yes, you need that book because the greatest sale you need to make in your life. And until you make this one sale, nothing else matters. And that is to sell yourself on who you really are, not the made up you, not the one you created, but the one you were designed to be, the one that you came here as before you were programmed. So scroll number 5 says, I will live this day as if it's my last. Download it off of Google. Go to Google and look up Og Mandino, the 10 scrolls, download all 10 of them, and then look at number 5. And of course, this entire presentation is going to be available in 920 community and mastermind. And you can download these slides, and I'll even let you brand them yourself. I want to get this message out. This is a powerful message to prevent us from committing time treason. Every single one of us, we are guilty as charged of time treason. If there was a way to put you on trial, put me on trial, and we were able to go back and look at all the hours and minutes and time that we spent, we all would be guilty of time treason. This is the Twisdom clock. I developed this clock when I was about 24 years old, a new salesperson for about 1 year. And they were inviting me in to talk to new people because I'd done so well. And one of my segments was time management. And this clock I developed, 6 years every 5 minutes, represents the human life. The average human being on planet Earth today lives about 73.6 years. Well, I took the 72. If you want to replace that with a 7 and get 84, that's fine. But the purpose of this, if you look, all these other smaller numbers, is just to get us to pay attention to how precious every moment is. If you look at these numbers, the bottom number, like below the 6, is 52,560 hours. That the top number is 2,190 days when you're 6 years old. Take it to 66 years old. You've lived 24,090 days, 578,000 hours. You may say, Fred, this doesn't sound very motivating or encouraging or inspiring or aspiring. It's kind of depressing, isn't it? No, it's not. It's reality. But watch this. I want to show you the difference. In order to transform yourself and transform your world and the way you look at things, I want you to think about this for a moment. Watch this little video clip here. We've done this way too long for too long. This is a leap year. And if not now, when are we going to be totally in control of our priorities? See, you can't control that clock from spinning, spinning, and spinning as we just saw. But you can control your priorities. You can control what goes in here. You can control so many other things. And I'm going to show you hands on how to get control and what's going on that keeps sabotaging you from accomplishing that level of joy in your life. Becoming a multimillionaire is, I mean, there's millions of videos on that, and it's really not a big deal. Been there, done that. But what happens in the process is the big deal. And because there's so many people that achieve these levels, and yet they don't have the joy, they don't have the satisfaction with it. What is it? Why is it? How does that go on? Or there's others that can't even, they run out a month before they run out of money before they run out a month, right? Is that it go month to month to month. Well, we got to stop that. We got to become a leader in all areas. Just because you may be real big shot in wealth, it doesn't mean anything. There's the leadership in health. There's the leadership in happiness. There's the leadership in the wisdom, how wise you are, and then of course in wealth in all areas of your life. So we have a choice. We can become a leaper or grim leaper. It's either or. You got to either be a really proactive leaper or you're kind of like a grim leaper. You keep promising yourself you're going to get there, you're going to do it, you're going to get happy one day. And if only I get this, that'll happen. If I start this relationship, if I go out with this person, if I just could do this, or if this person would leave me alone, or blah, 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 blah. It goes on and on and on. That's a grim leaper, right? Even though you might be leaping, there's so many other things going on in your head. So, and if you're not leaping forward, every step in a way that's positive. Now, not that you're not going to fall and slip off the rock when you leap. Success is the artful management of failures and setbacks. It's not things going right. It's learning how to manage life and manage things when they're not going right, which life kind of delivers to all of us in order to serve us. Life doesn't happen to us. It happens for us. We've created everything in our life. So either you're leaping or you're lying. And I want you to be nothing more than a pure leaper during this leap year. If not now, when? Leap and lead in your own life versus lagging behind due to fear, inertia, closed minds, lack of vision, wisdom, and purpose. That's why I created the 920 Society community and mastermind. And this is all about self-leadership and mastery because that's what creates a joyful ripple effect influencing those around us and spreads throughout the entire world. The E in LEAP is evaluate to elevate. You want to evaluate everything in your life. Everything you take in, everything you allow in here, everything you allow in your life, people you allow in your life, your career, your relationships. Evaluate, evaluate, evaluate. Socrates said the unexamined life is not worth living. He was put to death for that. He taught the youth of his day, evaluate, examine the theologians, the politicians, the philosophers, examine me and my philosophy. And he got put to death for that. But folks, that's what we need to do is evaluate to elevate, because that's the way you elevate yourself. And I evaluate everything to elevate it. And I'm going to give you some examples of that here shortly. Courage to evaluate our current standing in life, our goals, our actions, and results so far in the area of health, happiness, wisdom, and wealth. And I'm going to give you a couple self-tests. Building. You're got to be building in each of these. And the only way you build anything is leap and become a very strong leaper. Work together on setting tangible goals and steps, pardon me, for personal elevation and societal elevation. Understanding and aligning our soul intelligence and its source. The A in LEAP is for altitude. You're never going to raise up unless you can get that attitude properly tuned and understand it. And I want you to be able to conquer the connection between the attitude and our achievements. That's the most important. You see, the right attitude is in our souls. The right attitude is a part of our soul intelligence. That's what keeps yanking at your heart, saying, wait a minute, there's something different. There's something more in this relationship, something more in this business, something more in my career, something more in this wealth that I've built, this big company that I've built, this fortune that I've amassed. There's something more there. What that is your soul intelligence calling you higher and develop the attitude to do it. And you see, I really believe the connection is almost like an oil pipeline. But the problem is that that pipeline that connects the attitude and the altitude is like that oil pipeline, but there's holes in it. And you're allowing oil to squirt everywhere, like all the energy is going to places it shouldn't be going to. So we're going to patch all those holes up and really master attitudinal healing and attitudinal development. There's an organization called Attitudinal Healing International, ahinternational.org, ahinternational.org. Download the 12 principles of attitudinal healing. I am a certified teacher in attitudinal healing. We're going to be talking about how do I patch all the holes where my energy is not going to places it shouldn't be going to master that attitude and heal that attitude. SI, Soul Intelligence Strategies for a Positive Growth-Oriented Mindset, Will Set, and Skill Set. There's tons of mindset specialists, but how about the will set? What is it that holds us back? Even though we sometimes get the mind straight, but the will won't get in line. And then, of course, developing the right skill set. The P in LEAP for this 2024, this beautiful leap year, is power and possibility. I want you to experience that infinite possibility of joy that nothing can attack, nothing can touch, that you can't wait to get out of bed in the morning. You beat the clock to the punch. I mean, you're up before the clock goes off. That's a great feeling to jump out of bed. Experience infinite possibilities that open up when we harness our soul intelligence to defeat our ego intelligence. I have a chart that I am telling you right now is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars once you understand the chart and understand the difference between ego intelligence, the ego, and the soul, and then how to manage it. Personal change accelerates with a purpose to change the world. See, we got to have a bigger purpose than just to grow of ourselves personally, to achieve wealth or to achieve, finances, or to achieve the bigger house, the bigger car, or, put the kids through school. And, I ask a lot of people, what's your sole purpose in life? And a lot of times I'll hear, especially from moms, well, it's my children. Well, what happens when the children grow up? Then what? So personal change accelerates with a purpose to change the world. So we're going to identify that purpose for you. What is your highest, professional calling? What is your highest soul calling? Your highest spiritual calling? In March, we talked about these things, identifying and defeating mediocrity and the business of life. Let me slide my camera off of there a little bit. Identifying and defeating mediocrity in the business of life, in those 4 focus areas that the 920 Society got started as a result of really wanting to focus in those 4 areas for people. And we said it's going to be a month of M&Ms, right? Learning how to sync all the M&Ms that you'll see what they are here in a second. And then all the I, soul intelligence, artificial intelligence, divine intelligence, ego and emotional intelligence, and positive intelligence. If you're not familiar with positive intelligence, I encourage you. That gentleman is doing great work in that area called positive intelligence. Look up positiveintelligence.com. Take his free assessment test on saboteurs, what sabotages you. What a great work he does. BI, body intelligence. There's so many great apps today to help us get our body in sync. There's so many great apps. I just downloaded one myself called Yuck, and it just scans barcodes and it ranks everything on a score of 1 to 100. Wait till you scan some of your food. And you're going to go, you've got to be kidding me. I've been putting things that are rated 13 I did a cereal for someone yesterday. I scanned it for them. I said, look at this, an 8. That's the score that it got. It was flashing red. There's so many wonderful things today to help us sync all these things, and we just need to learn how to master them and what they are. This was March. This is what we just went over, the leader versus lagger. Evaluate to elevate, altitude by attitude, and power and possibility. Here, if you're in leadership or management, I encourage you to go get one of my vintage Leader laggard presentations I did in 1990. It was to a group of owners and managers of real estate brokerages around the country. Some really great points in there. Leader laggards, a 90-minute. It's great for management if you're in a management position or you own or run a business or a family. We said evaluate to elevate. I like this when my friend Socrates is there. The unexamined life is not worth living. I say the unexamined business is not worth being in. The unexamined business doesn't really throw off much cash. The unexamined relationship is not very thrilling. The unexamined anything is not worth having. So it's all about evaluation. Altitude by attitude, we went into that, power and possibility. I want to get to this here. Learn how to mastermind. The 920 Society was set up as a community and mastermind because there's so few that have any oomph to them, any power to them. I'm so proud to say that we just got our first international person that came on to say, hey, Fred, it says that you are helping people to change their world and the world. Let me tell you what the ideas are. Let me tell you what I'm doing. Do you think that you could provide some coaching and consulting without cost because we don't have the money? These are people in a poor side of the globe. And we really would like to do this. What we've already established in the 2.5 weeks working together has been phenomenal. This is why I started this community, is to really help people change their world first and then to change the world. So learn how to mastermind. Look up the word mastermind. If you haven't read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, his principle in masterminding is very, very powerful. Start your own mastermind group among 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 10, 12 people that have the same mindset, same goals, same ambitions. If you have a young family, start a mastermind of 4 or 5 other parents and get together once, twice a month, or every other week or something on Zoom. Start these masterminds. I would love to see every religious organization on every corner, understand the masterminding principle and get and do more masterminding than thinking that there's a bunch of gurus that can teach something and that we all mastermind together, because the power is in all of us collectively. And then master your business. And that's the business of life. And that's what the 920 Society wants to help you with. Life is full of free M&Ms for everyone in the month of March, I said, because we can learn to be marvelous moment by moment. You see, I don't think I've ever created a marvelous day in my life out of 70 years, but I create a lot of marvelous moments every day. And then I look back at the day, I say, wow, what a marvelous day. I can't even think of the negative things that tried to take place. I can't even think of the negative input that some people try to give me. And so it's moment by moment. Zig Ziglar was a real famous speaker, writer, teacher. And he said, life by the inch is a cinch, life by the yard is hard. So it's only you can be marvelous moment by moment. And if you can get 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 marvelous moments out of a day, your whole day is going to be marvelous. Remember the 86,400 seconds that you've got? Is that 84, yeah, 84.6, yeah. 86.4, was it 86.4 or 84,600? That, don't burn them up because someone ruined 30 seconds of them, or ruined 60 seconds or 500 seconds of it, because you got so many that you could do something with moment by moment, making the right movements. How many times have you moved one way or another, relationship, even physically, or whatever it may be, jobs or different groups or whatever, and you just go, oh my gosh, and you look back and you go, I don't know, that what a great movement. But making the right movements, making minutes miraculous. You can take a minute, make a lot of minutes miraculous during a day, creating magical, memorable moments. Let me just give you a challenge here. It's up to you. You're the one that makes moments miserable or memorable. Because see, there's the other side of the M&Ms too. So you have a choice. You can learn to be miserable, or you can learn to have miserable moments or memorable moments. One magical minute or second at a time, defeating miserable moments and mediocrity. That was the month of March. You can go down and look at some of the videos in the community. Unlocking the chains of mediocrity that bind us so tight, right? And the way we do that, to unlock those chains that hold us, is by learning to be mesmerized by the source of life, not by our life, but the source of life, saying, what is this message that my soul intelligence keeps giving me? And every soul intelligence is different. It's like our thumbprint. So learn to be mesmerized by the source of life and love versus mystified by it. Like, oh boy, scratching your head. What's going on here? No, treat everything as if it's there to serve you. Everything is there to serve you. Life is not happening to you, it's happening for you. Transform your mindset and your will set. As I said before, a lot of mindset experts, but how many people can help you get to change your will? Mobilize, take action toward change, and then maximize. Elevate your standards. Elevate your standards. Month of M&Ms, the M's that we think, you notice I say we think hold us back, because this is what creates the self-sabotage, is that we think these hold us back when they don't. We think messes that we have going on in our life are holding us back. We created most of them. Now, that's hard to swallow. I didn't learn how to swallow that pill until I was 63 years old. One of my greatest motivations for this mastermind is trying to get people to learn what I learned at 63, 64 in the last 7 years in their 20s and 30s and 40s. So messes are not what's causing you to be held back. Mishaps are not holding you back. Misunderstandings are not holding you back. It's your perception of them. If you treat every single one of them and you take responsibility and say, hey, I am the creator of my life. I created a lot of these things. I allowed these to happen. Now, if you're not ready for that level of responsibility, then just say, okay, what am I going to learn from it then? What can I learn from it? And then use it. Everything going on in your life you can learn from. Mistakes. You know what? The mistakes aren't holding you back. What's holding you back is your perception of your mistakes, your perception of your past. You have so much to learn from your past. But you don't even need to think about the past. It's gone. It's finished. It's an illusion. The present moment is all you have. There was no right decisions you made all your life. There's no wrong decisions you made. You just made decisions. The emphasis and the power needs to be placed upon, what am I doing with all the decisions I've made? How am I living to make them right? All of them. And the other thing is moaning of ourselves or others. You know, if there's such a thing as a moaning meter, um, I sure would like to have it and put it on some of my coaching clients and test them. um, if there was a way to put us on a stand and on trial and say, let's test if you're a moaner, or are you a mover? Well, boy, how much we moan as human beings. We moan, and we got to stop that. That definitely is a self-saboteur. So how can we experience more? Explore and experience more. Explore everything, like Socrates said, examine everything. Miracles, recognize the wonders in your life. Somebody said there are no such thing as small miracles or big miracles. They're just all miracles, right? Recognize the wonders in your life, magical moments, cultivate joy and surprise, memories, build a legacy of positivity. Blessed are the flexible. They never get bent out of shape. Be positive no matter what, because you are in control more than you've given yourself credit for. You are the co-creator of your life. Monumental health, foster well-being in all dimensions in order to defeat mediocrity. Let's talk about moving forward with momentum, because we're now into April, but I wanted to review this for those who've been here before and those who haven't seen it yet. These other M&Ms was manifest, bring your desires to life, which are simple, because a lot of times it's that mental blockage that's holding the things back. Motivate, inspire yourself and others, and then master by masterminding, becoming the architect of reality with all the eyes: artificial intelligence, soul intelligence, divine intelligence, positive intelligence, emotional ego intelligence, body intelligence, and financial intelligence. Stop running out of money before you run out of month. Month of the M&Ms, your March manifesto. This is our project again, as I said, in March. Let every moment be a step away from mediocrity. As soon as you start feeling a little bit down, jump up like you're crazy person and just step away. Say, I'm stepping away from that. And watch what happens. You'll laugh a little bit at yourself. I'm so glad there's not a video in my, where I live, because, someone's liable to say, there is something wrong. I have more fun with that. where I jump up and I move and I say crazy things to myself just to defeat my ego. Embrace the miracles that make you nature's greatest masterpiece. Make March the month of marvelous moments and miracles. Why all the M's was scroll number 4 in Og Mandino's book was I am nature's greatest miracle. Nature's greatest miracle. I want to read this to you. This is so worth reading. Nature's greatest miracle. Do you know me? You may know me. I'm your constant companion. I'm your greatest helper. I'm your heaviest burden. I will push you onward or I will drag you down to failure. I am at your command. Half the task you do might as well be turned over to me. I'm able to do them quickly and I'm able to do them the same every time if that's what you want. You see the emphasis on what you want. It's that purpose, right? That COP, certainty of purpose. Pardon me, I'm easily managed. All you've got to do is be firm with me. Show me exactly how you want it done. After a few lessons, I'll do it automatically. So far, how many of you want this machine I'm talking about? Excuse me one second. I am the servant of all great men and women. Of course, I'm the servant of all the failures as well. I've made all the winners who have ever lived, and I've made all the losers too. But I work with the precision of a marvelous computer, with the intelligence of a human being. You may run me for profit, or you may run me to ruin. It makes no difference to me. Take me, be easy with me, and I will destroy you. Be firm with me, and I'll put the world at your feet. Manifestation. Who am I? Who am I? What did you answer? I was so fortunate to serve on the staff of Dr. Dennis Waitley. He wrote the work on the psychology of winning that he used with a lot of the Olympic athletes, and I served with him for a couple of years. And this poem is so powerful. Who am I? If you already got it, that's great. Send me a message in 920 Society. Say I already knew this or I got it. But I'm habit. I'm habit. And you actually could replace habit with soul intelligence, but you train your soul intelligence. You shut your soul intelligence down. Habit and not developing the right habits is nothing but shutting your soul down because your soul is crying out for habit. Your soul is calling you, saying, step it up. This is your year. Leap, leap now. If not this year, when? The Power of Habit by Dr. Dennis Waitley. Great poem. It takes heart, courage, the spiritual side of success, faith, and facts versus fear and illusions. You see, folks, we are definitely spiritual beings having a human experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. And if we do not get sold on ourselves and who we really are, the original version that we got here with before we were programmed with an ego, what does that look like? And I'm going to show you right now. Faith and facts versus fear and illusions. There's a whole work that I did here on this. You can get this in the 920 Society and get the spiritual side of success and go through it. I would love to have your feedback in the 920 Society. By the way, any doubts of you being miraculous, just look at your physical heart, your BI, your body intelligence. I like this one here. I'll jump to this one. Over a day, this equates to approximately 1,864 gallons of blood circulated throughout the body. Blood travels through a vast network of vessels that have stretched out, would extend over 60,000 miles. In 24 hours, blood travels a distance equivalent to going around the world more than twice. Wow. You have any doubts that you're marvelous? Folks, it's time to get sold on ourselves. It's time to get sold on certainty of purpose. Why am I here? What am I doing here? What am I going to accomplish? And not a legacy of the messenger. As I said, I wonder how many people are going to remember your name when it gets up to the great grandparent stage or the great great grandparent stage. But what you got started without even realizing by doing some of these things and what you create for the entire world, because it's a ripple effect, is way beyond our thinking. This was the highlights of scroll number 4. And again, just go to Google, Og Mandino, 10 scrolls. You'll find plenty of them, PDF. You have a soul purpose. SOLE, you have a soul purpose, SOUL, and you have a solar purpose. And do you know every single one of us? It's identical. I mean, not identical, it's different. It's like your thumbprint. Your soul purpose, SOLE, is different than anybody else's. Your SOUL purpose is different than anybody else's. How do you learn to work that soul intelligence? The thing with AI, Chat GPT, and all the other ones, it's great, but you got to know what the input in there to really get the best out of it. So, and then what's your solar purpose, your SOLR? And there's a poem here that I wrote that you can get. I won't take time and read this. What a beautiful a writing. It's not a poem. It's a writing. One morning I was at sunrise and I started thinking, we were created like the sun. We have the same function. And I went to Chat GPT. I said, I'm sitting at sunrise and I'm thinking about our function in life and why were we sent here? What are we here for? Oh my gosh. I gave it to raw. And of course, it came out with this beautiful writing. What a day and time that we're living in with artificial intelligence. I know some people think it's negative and, it's going to ruin the world. Listen, folks, all intelligence has to come from one source, divine intelligence. Don't be afraid of artificial intelligence. Embrace it. It's a change. People in Elvis Presley's days was afraid of him shaking his hips, so much so they locked him up. Watch that video of when he was coming out of jail. um, I think back on it's really interesting. But anyway, challenge everything, really evaluate everything. Let me tell you, the 920 Society, what we're going to do here. We're going to be love finders, not fault finders, embracing wholeness, not endorsing exclusion, embracing universal love, not universal theology, policy, or politics. There is no such thing. We can never, ever, ever achieve any universal theology, policy, or politics, but we need to embrace the universal love. This is the week of the solar eclipse. It was so beautiful watching everyone with a COP, certainty of purpose, and looking up and spending $6 billion on this thing called the eclipse, this phenomenon. And, what a certainty of purpose. It was so beautiful. They were embracing universal purpose at the time, right? Feed on power to love, not love of power, position, and prestige. Relish reality, not living with illusions. Conversation and communion, not correcting or conversion. This living with not living with illusions. If you stick with me and wait till you see my charts, I think you're going to, have a few light bulbs coming on. Going, whoa, wait a minute, maybe I have been living with some illusions, right? So let's relish reality. Coming down here, commending life, ourselves and others, not condemning. I have a little test I'm going to give you. Pledge allegiance to humanity and Mother Earth, not just flags. Every time I say the Pledge of Allegiance, I add in there to the United States of America and humanity itself and Mother Earth. Let's pledge allegiance to the bigger picture, not just our flags. Thinking together, not teaching one another. Learning and unlearning together, not in need of being taught. There's a lot of the big leaders and gurus and messiahs, and a lot of them said the same thing. We don't have a need of being taught. We just have a need of learning and unlearning together, right? Jesus himself was quoted as saying, call no man father, for you have one father. What did he mean by that, right? So we just got to, we're like kids in a sandbox. Another quote that Jesus said, if you're not, don't believe in scriptures or anything, that's okay. Use it as life mantras. He said that the kids wanted to come to him and he had his righteous disciples trying to prevent the kids from talking to him. He said, stop it. Don't forbid those children to come unto me, for such is the kingdom of God. We got to become like children. He said, unless you become like one of these, you shall never see the kingdom of God. That meant the love and the joy that they enjoy without ever being taught. They came here, it was natural until they got programmed by mothers, fathers, and teachers and preachers, all well-meaning, of course, but it just keeps getting handed down year after year. So learning and unlearning together, stretching together, not struggling with anything or anyone. When collective minds come together, there's no struggle. It's you don't even need to. It's not about the words. It's about our communication. It's more about the communion. Empowering individuality. The person that I'm helping internationally when they reached out, and I'm just, it's amazing just to see the last 6 or 7 days, when we're on a Zoom call, the expression, and that I empowered just one individual by the assistance, and what that's going to do. And his ideology is so far away from mine, Muslim. And but I respect it highly. And just by empowering his individuality, what he's already done in the little bit of time we've been working together, sharing insights, not imposing opinions, facilitating discovery, not dictating direction, harmonizing efforts, not highlighting errors, cultivating compassion, not criticizing choices, encouraging expression, not extinguishing enthusiasm. Let me ask you a question. If you're running a company, if you're in charge of people, if you're in a marriage relationship or partnership or significant other, whatever it is, if you have a family that you're managing, and if you started doing everything on this chart the way that it's worded, you think it might be a little bit different in your life? Well, can you imagine when you embrace your soul intelligence? Because every bit of this is what your soul is crying out for. It's all about reality versus illusions, and it's about understanding how you have self sabotaged, how you have sabotaged yourself because it's sneaky and subtle. Listen to this. Behavior is said to be self sabotaging when it creates problems in daily life. Anybody have any problems in their daily life? And interferes with long standing goals. So many of us have so many ambitions, but it's the same ambition year after year after year. It's like dancing on peanut butter, as Dr. Dennis Waitley used to say. It could be fun once in a while, but is that what you really want to do all your life? The most common self-sabotaging behaviors include procrastination. I love the fact that that definition started out with procrastination. Isn't that amazing? Anybody have any problem with procrastination? Right? So self-sabotage is sneaky and subtle. So we're going to try and get you to identify all that. Now, it all boils down to two things: love and fear. It all is, it comes down to that. Fear is false evidence appearing real, false education appearing real. So it's illusional, right? Love is what it's all about. Where we came from, where we're going back to, what fuels us. And this song, for example, Fear is a Liar. What a beautiful song. Now, I said you've got to evaluate to elevate. So, what I do when I hear a song, I evaluate it and I go, what's he mean by cast your fear in the fire? What fire? Where's the fire? And then he explains it in another stanza. Oh, let your fire fall and cast out all my fears. Like some magical fire is going to come down out of heaven, and I'm going to be able to cast all my fears into it, and everything's going to be okay. It doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that way. We were sent here with that fire. It's already in us. That is the key to human survival, human salvation, is that once we get to the point and get sold on ourselves and realize we were sent here with it, and the only thing that ruins it or quenches it is our programming, bad programming. Cast your fear in the fire, or let your fire fall and cast out all my fears. Let your fire fall. Your love is all I feel. No, it's bigger than that even. Now, I love this song. I still listen to it. I listen to it in an elevated manner by, adding my take on this. Yes, cast your fear in that fire in your soul intelligence. That's your fire. And so I elevate that song. Here's the 15-second truth test. When I want you to, there's two words: condemning and commending. A lot of times we'll hear a word, no, I don't condemn. Well, read this and you'll see how much you condemn. All of us. I mean, I read this, I go, oh my gosh, I am guilty as charged. I'm, so easy to condemn versus commend ourselves, especially because this is where it starts. It's all about your transformation first, then transforming anything else around you, because it's got to start with you. So the 15-second truth test, when I ask you these questions, what's your first reaction to it? Jot it down. Don't look beyond the questions until you answer them. If God/life is supposed to be so good, um, all love, good and fair, why am I so blank? Or why do I feel so blank? Or why is my life blank? So it's really just to challenge you and saying, hey, if there's supposed to be all this goodness and abundance out there, why am I lacking in some of these areas? Or I achieved this, I achieved the wealth, I achieved the education, but wow, this is lacking in this relationship. And I'm on my third marriage. I'm this. Why is it that way? Right? Ask yourself that. Or ask yourself this question. Right now, the world is blank. And a lot of people, you got to catch them off guard to get a real honest answer. They'll say, why is it so screwed up? Or why is it in such turmoil? Right now, the world is blank. Why am I feeling? So challenge yourself with those. And then I want to give you another challenge because remember, now I'm moving into the spiritual side of success to understand our soul intelligence. Because I want to show you this chart that I want you to understand this is that every time you use the word I am lonely. So is my creator. Oh, I am busted. Where am I going to get money? Well, so is my creator that way. I am depressed. So is my creator. You see, you can't answer that way because a creator, and I love my atheist friends. They have more faith than I have. I tell them that. I compliment them because they still have a faith. They have a faith that there's nothing and nothing is something. A creator wholly unlike his creation is inconceivable. If you're more comfortable saying her creation or its creation or the universe's creation, however you're comfortable, but the same concept applies. If we were created in one form or another, our creator, wholly unlike his creation, is inconceivable. The first premise is that God, now this is from A Course in Miracles, and it uses God and it's masculine only because that's a little bit more universal. The first premise is that God gives you only happiness. This could be false, of course, but in order to be false, it is necessary to define God as something he is not. Love cannot give evil. And what is not happiness is evil, especially when you look at the word evil and spell it backwards. It's live, spelled backwards. So, what is not happiness is evil. God cannot give what he does not have, and he cannot have what he is not. Unless God gives you only happiness, he must be evil. And it is this definition of him you are believing if you do not accept the first premise. And that is God only gives you happiness. You see, I go back to it's not your messes, it's not your circumstances. I did a work in soul cancer. Look up soulcancer.org or soulcancer.com. And I talked about this when we accept that as a part of our life, or it should be there, or it's just normal that these things happen. Well, they're there to get us to get rid of that programming because God intends us to have nothing but pure happiness, pure health, pure wisdom, and pure wealth. Now, wealth doesn't mean a dollar sign behind it, but wealth in all areas. This quote here, loving yourself isn't vanity, it's sanity, is crossed out, not because I disagree with it. It's because I elevated it. I evaluated it and I said, wait a minute, Katrina, which she does great work, by the way. Ladies, look her up. Great woman to put in your list of mentors. Loving yourself isn't vanity, it's sanity. Well, it's not loving yourself, it's bigger than that. It's loving your source of self, loving your entire world along with your fellow man along with it because we're all in this together. That globe is round, folks. We all bleed the same color. So loving yourself isn't vanity, it's sanity. So I'd like to just add in there, loving yourself in the source of self isn't vanity, it's sanity. Now, Brene Brown, nah, definitely wouldn't criticize her. I'd be shot, right? The greatest success is successful self-acceptance. Now, I elevated that. I said, and I love that quote. I think it's great, but I elevated it to the point where I'm saying the greatest success is successful self-evaluation and the courage to do so, or then accepting it after I evaluate it. So I'm just playing with some words here, trying to make a point. Evaluate, evaluate, evaluate to elevate. Look at my story on defalcocc.com to show you that I am here to give, give, give. As I said, I'm trying to help people not to have to wait till they're 62, 63 years old to learn some of these concepts I'm going to go over with you now. Here's the soulcancer.org. Look at that work, how to defeat mediocrity, because mediocrity is nothing but soul cancer. Um, this is a chart that is so critical. Now you're looking and go, what the heck is all this? Well, this is you. The right side of the chart is the real you, is the you that you came here with. This is off of the assembly line. Soon as you came out of the womb, this was the real you. This is what your soul looked like. This is what it was designed to be. and it's still there no matter what happens. I'm going to have to go to a different mode here. Hold a second to make these slides work. Okay. So, what happens here, if you look over here to this right side, right, this is the soul side, and over here is the ego. This is the program side. This is your creation. And your moms and your dads and the mothers, fathers, teachers and preachers and anybody else that's giving you any input. That this is what we learned. This is what we our original version. When we can tap the soul intelligence over here and keep pulling this up, see, this is the thermometer. I mean, this is the thermostat, right? In order to adjust things, you don't go to the thermometer and blow on it and fan it and say, I hope something changes. No, you work with the thermostat. This is just a reflection of what's going on. So when you're angry, for example, conflict and anger, that's just threat and value. You don't know who you really are because you were made to be in collaboration all the time. You were made to commune. You were made to be at peace. That's our original version, but we learn conflict and anger. We came here with a goal mine. Okay, sent here by creator to co-create. You got to have goals. And we were sent here with a goal mine, but we ended up a lot of times with a monkey mind. All those little voices chatting at us what we're not and what we got to do and what we got to be. And, here, fear, competition, and judgments. What you say to little children. Hey, what are you going to be when you grow up? I tell kids all the time, hey, do you know you are everything you're ever going to be? What are you going to do with it? How are you going to come and change the world? I have a granddaughter, Carly, well, now 26. I'm sorry, Carl, 1992. I'm sorry. um, so it's 27, 28. uh, my mind is flowing here. So normally I would get that right, born 1996. But anyway, Carly was like 8, 9 years old. And as I was challenged myself with some of these things, and I was going through a lot of things myself. And, I had her in the car one day and I asked her to open the sun visor up. And I said, pull the mirror down, open the mirror up. I said, look at that. I said, look in there for a moment. And I said, I'm sorry, I gave you the wrong story. I asked her, I said, Carly, if you had all the power in the world, she was 9 years old. I said, if you were granted all the power in the world, sweetheart, what would you do with it? What would be the first thing you do is the way the question went. And she said, well, I'd just make sure no one was hungry. And that's most of the time. When I ask people if they were to hit a lottery for $100 million, adults, within the first one or two or three things they answer, they'll mention something of philanthropy. See, folks, that's who we are. This comes from over here. Carly's answer was from over here. I want to make sure no one goes hungry. Well, why is it that we don't accomplish it? It's because of our programming. So I had Carly, I said, Carly, if you are so good that you would do that if you had all the power, why doesn't God do that? She looked at me like, uh-oh, I think I'm supposed to know that answer. She was going to a Christian school and she said, I think I'm supposed to know that answer. And she wasn't really supposed to. Matter of fact, I was trying to deprogram her from her Christian school input probably. But I said, look in the mirror. I said, that's why God won't do it. He already has. You're the answer. I'm the answer. Let's keep working on ourselves. And that was this point I was trying to make is that this we were sent here with all this power to manage this earth. And we got to defeat this over here. The emphasis not, see, all these are a comparison chart. If you look over to the left, external, over here is internal. If you live over here with the ego, you'll age a lot quicker. Then over here, it's ageless almost. Over here is a lot more sickness. Over here is a lot more health. Over here, you want to sleep a lot more. You don't want to get out of bed. Here, you can't wait to get up. Here is checking out, more than checking in. Over here is life happening to you. Over here is life happening for you. Over here, you're defensive and a victim. Over here, you're offensive and a victor. Why me is the message of the ego. Why not me is the message of the soul. Something's wrong with me. Something's wrong with them. Something's wrong with that. Something's wrong with this politician. Something's wrong with this religion. Something's wrong with this. That's the message of the ego. The message of the soul is something's right with me. Something's right with that. Over here, it's a bunch of nightmares. Over here, a bunch of dreams. Over here, the monkey mind. Over here is the goal mind. Tension relieving versus goal achieving. So get this chart, print it out. I've had some of my clients, they have just radically because when I talk about as soon as there's anger, that means it's just threat and value. You're not leaning over here. You're not working on this. You're trying to get their spouse to change. You're trying to change things over here and not raise yourself up to make sure that this comes up. I bring up Robin Williams on this chart. Robin Williams, he said one goal was to make the world laugh. He sure did. And he did everything he could to make the world laugh. But yet he was so sad to the point where he couldn't put up with that monkey mind anymore. Now, some people may get offended by that and say, Fred, what do you think you are, a mental health specialist? Yes. After 70 years of living, I've got plenty of experience. If you'd like to chat with me about that or challenge me on that. But, mental health issues come from programming, come from sexual abuse, usually from the ages of 1 to 5. A lot of the mental health people that I've worked with people in death row and I've worked with the billionaires. They're all no different. It's all the programming. So what happens over here when we start believing that programming and no one helps us and guides us over here how to really tap what we already have. A lot of people teach you have to go out and get it. You got to pray more. You got to do something more. Well, that's just the opposite of spirituality. Spirituality, you already are. You got sent here with all this. Take the pressure off yourself. What needed to happen in Robin Williams' life is he needed to learn how to get this up, not get it up, but see it. This is the vision, right? Just turn the thermostat of vision up, and then this would have went down, and those voices would have quieted down, and so on and so forth. See, over here, you got to have substance abuse. The more you live on the ego side, the left side, the more substance you're going to need. My favorite go-to is ice cream, man. Now, you give me a half-gallon ice cream, you can solve all the problems I have in the world for about 10 minutes, and then I'm sick to my stomach, right? Over here, though, when I learn to stay over here and I do it, I become a person of substance. Say, no, I don't need that. I want to be a person of substance because that's who I really am, not be a person of substance. I want to fulfill what I really am. So I don't know if that makes some sense to you, but get the charts and study them. They go on and on. Are you living a life of being just a survivor? Scarcity. Look at the definition of survivor: to continue to live or exist, especially in spite of danger or hardship. And most people go through their life that way, feeling their life is hard when it's not hard. It's the way they're seeing it. We can't see things the way we are. I mean, the way they are, we only see things the way we are. So if we're really focused over here in the ego, all we see is a hard life. All we see is danger. But if we live over here and we get over here with our goal, we change things. We become a thriver. We thrive with abundance. And it's not about roles that I have to fulfill. It's about me. It's about my individuality and working on that individuality. Look at the definition of being a thriver. To grow vigorously, flourish, to gain in wealth or possessions, prosper, to progress toward or realize a goal despite, I just what I like, despite or because of circumstances, often used with on thrives on conflict. So you actually thrive with conflict. See, that's what the soul is all about. And it goes on and on and on, struggling or a struggler or a stretcher or stretching. So, how do you want to live? Do you want to live in a real hard way, or do you want to just grow and you want to grow vigorously and flourish? You see, here's the situation. When a flower dies, is it the flower or is it the soil there's something wrong with? It's the soil. It's the soil. The soil wasn't programmed right. The soil is not right. It doesn't have the right mixture of the stuff. Well, you take care of that soil and give it its original, what it's supposed to have, water and light and sunshine, then it thrives. See, that's like our soul. So this is your real soil. These are a lot of times dead flowers, and sometimes they get real bright. You get a lot of success real fast. So I've experienced it. Some of my biggest deals that are 7 digits or higher, man, they created more problems in my life than to some of the problems created. And that we think, oh, it's a bright flower, and oh my gosh, and it raises this ego up. But it's just the flower. It's not the soil. This is the soil. Over here is the thermostat. Over here is the thermometer. Get these and print them out for yourself and your family. Are you a prisoner of yourself or you're a participant of life? right? Deprived of liberty and kept under involuntary restraint. How many times do you feel that you're being restrained, right? Over here, it's a person who takes part, extension of love, true self. So we're always able to extend over here. Here, it's just we got to protect everything. Yeah, and I've got many more of these to put up, but I'll stop here. Adaptation, of self, and then mask and roles. Over here is, aspiration for life. Over here is a adaptation of self. Here we put on a lot of masks and we take a lot of roles that we shouldn't take. Over here, we're looking to remove masks or at least manage them. I did a thing called, if you copy this and paste it, you'll see a thing. Please do not hear what I'm not saying. It's all about mask and removing mask. So hopefully, if you're not in the 920 Society, you'll come and join the community. It's a Facebook community right now. Mastermind, it's a private community. We allow anonymous posting. So if you're going through some real ugly, mean crisis and you want to post anonymously, see who else is out there to help you and assist you, I will be back with you. That anonymous posting, I do know about it, but no one else, because I'm the only one that has access to that. And I would be glad to help you and assist you. So feel free. Let's not create time treason anymore. This is leap year. It's your turn to leap. And I have the 920 Society there to help you transform your world in order to transform the world. Hopefully, see you in the community and participating. It's a newer community. It was formed at one point for some real estate salespeople, but then it turned into more and more people were asking for some things, and a few other people joined outside of that industry. So it's for everyone now. And it's a big ambition, 9,200,000 members by 2035. Um, because I have made a decision. I wanted a goal so big in my life that I was going to be forced to become the person to achieve it. And I must convince 9,200,000 other people, well, 9,199,999, whatever people, to also set goals so big they need to become the person to achieve it. So glad you came by. Hopefully, I will see you in the community. Thank you so much. Bye bye.